There's a belief that has persisted for centuries that the Earth is not a sphere. Every year, millions of people around the world still believe we live on a vast, flat plain surrounded by an icy wall and covered by a dome.
I've done my own research and it just doesn't add up. All the evidence points to a flat Earth. And they don't want you to know about the dome, or the ice wall that surrounds us all. It's all a conspiracy.
It sounds absurd, but if it's just absurd, why does the belief keep spreading? Why are there global conferences, independent research groups, and viral videos, all challenging what modern science claims to be fact? Is this simply the result of conspiracy thinking? Or is it a sign that science has never truly been questioned from a neutral ground? In this journey, we'll step into the world of flat Earth believers, not to mock, but to listen, examine, and compare their claims with what we think we know. Because misunderstanding even a single, simple idea can collapse an entire worldview.
In ancient times, when people looked up at the sky and saw the land stretching endlessly, the idea of a flat Earth seemed obvious. Everything around them supported that view. The ground felt flat, the sky looked like a dome, the sun rose and set each day. It all formed a reality that felt unquestionable. Even though philosophers like Pythagoras and Aristotle presented evidence of a spherical Earth over 2,000 years ago, flat Earth belief never truly disappeared. It survived quietly, in small groups, in religious teachings, in folklore, passed along as a hidden truth known only by the awakened. In the 19th century, Samuel Rowbotham, an Englishman, revived the flat Earth theory under the name of alternative science. Though rejected by mainstream science, his arguments found an audience in people already willing to distrust the system. In 1956, the Flat Earth Society was born, a small community, but enough to keep the idea alive. And then, decades later, the internet arrived. YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, TikTok, platforms created to share knowledge suddenly became megaphones that spread flat Earth ideas to millions. A belief once seen as ridiculous could now travel faster than any scientific paper ever could. Why? Because in this world, anyone can call themselves a researcher. Anyone can ask questions and find the answers they want to hear. But the root of the problem isn't just skepticism, it's rebellion. For many, believing in a flat Earth isn't just denying science, it's about feeling smarter than the crowd, feeling awake in a world full of lies. That belief doesn't come from a lack of knowledge, it's born from the need for control, the need to say, I know what you don't. And once a belief becomes part of your identity, no amount of evidence can change it.
They say look at the horizon. It's flat. Whether you're at the beach, in the desert, or flying tens of thousands of feet in the air, what you see is always the same, a perfectly straight line. If the Earth were truly curved, shouldn't we see that curve? But we don't. They say water can't bend. It always finds a flat surface, always levels itself out. So how could an ocean possibly cling to the curve of the Earth without spilling off? They say airplanes fly straight. If Earth were a sphere, planes would constantly have to angle their noses downward to follow the curve, but no one ever talks about that. They say photos of Earth from space are too perfect, too blue, too smooth. They look like something made with computer graphics. And so they conclude they must be fake. And in a way, all of this sounds kind of reasonable. It appeals to our instincts, matches what our eyes see, feels like something we can understand. And in a world where anyone can call themselves a researcher, a theory that sounds reasonable is often accepted as fact. The problem is that reasonableness doesn't come from truth. It comes from a sense of control, from a deeper desire, I know something the rest of you don't. And once a belief becomes part of someone's identity, no amount of evidence can change it. In fact, the more evidence you give, the stronger that belief tends to grow.
They say, look at the horizon, it's flat. And yes, to the naked eye, it appears as a straight line, stretching far. But the issue isn't the horizon, it's our eyes. From the ground, we can only see a few dozen kilometers at most. Compared to Earth's full circumference, over 40,000 kilometers, that tiny curve is simply too small to notice. It's like standing next to a massive ball. All you'll see is the small, flat part right in front of you. They say, water can't curve, it has to be flat. That seems reasonable, but only if we forget about one thing: gravity. It's gravity that holds Earth's oceans in place. Imagine pouring water on a spinning orange. The water sticks to its surface because it's pulled toward the center. Earth does the same,
only on a much, much bigger scale. They say planes fly straight, so why don't they fall off the ball? The truth is, planes don't fly in perfectly straight lines. They constantly adjust their angle to follow Earth's curve. That adjustment is handled by the autopilot system. Pilots don't have to manually do it, and because we're inside the cabin, those gradual shifts are too subtle to feel. They say photos of Earth from space look too smooth, they must be fake, and it's true. Many of them are enhanced, but not for deception, for clarity. Capturing the entire Earth in one shot is almost impossible. Satellite cameras only photograph small sections, so the full globe images are composite photos, stitched together from hundreds of smaller ones. To make that seamless, scientists adjust colors, brightness, and remove clouds that block the view. It's not unlike creating a panorama with your phone, then editing it to look natural. And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. Doubt is where understanding begins. But to truly understand, we need more than what we can see or what we feel is true.
So, why is it that in an age of satellites, GPS, and full Earth images from space, thousands of people still believe the Earth is flat? Part of it comes from the feeling of being special. That sense of, I know something the rest of the world doesn't. It gives people confidence, and sometimes a sense of pride. Then there's the fear of being deceived. When all the facts come from massive systems, governments, corporations, scientific institutions, doubt becomes a natural defense. Because if you don't ask questions, who will? But the deeper reason? Belief doesn't need evidence to survive. It just needs emotion to hold on. When a belief takes root deep enough, it's no longer just an opinion. It becomes part of someone's identity. And at that point, scientific truth is just one small piece of a much bigger story. A story about belonging, about finding a community, finding yourself in a chaotic world. And once a belief becomes you, it no longer needs to be right.
So now, let me ask you this. Have you ever believed in something deeply, truly, only to realize later it wasn't quite what you thought? What did that moment feel like? And more importantly, how did it change you? Because questioning isn't a sign of weakness, it's where understanding begins. So here's one last thought. If the Earth were flat, could planes still fly as they do? Would satellites exist? Could the world operate with such precision if it were all built on a lie that enormous? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them below. Let's discuss.